Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, August 30th. It is 6:20 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So give me a few seconds to update everything here for the video. Once everything's all updated, we can get started with our session for today. So just a few moments. A couple of things here to update. Shouldn't take too long. All right, that looks good. That looks good. Update that. Today's the 30th. All right, so it looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right. That's good, guys. So I'll give it a few minutes for people to make their way in. As people join, we'll get started with our analysis shortly. All right, cool. As people join the room, I'm going to go ahead and mark up news and whatever things that we have to mark on the chart right now. So I'll give it a few moments right here. Actually, let me mark up the zones first. And then from there, we can get started. So I'm gonna mark up these zones from here just so that we make sure that we don't miss any of them. Higher. And I gotta fix my mouse. My mouse is super laggy. So I mean, due to my mouse being laggy, that's how I like accidentally got into that buy yesterday, or that trade, that sell, whatever trade we took yesterday that I won. Initially, I didn't know I was in. I keep getting into these trades on accident because my mouse is so laggy that when I click trying to figure out where it's at, it's like over the buy or sell button, you know, coincidentally. So I got to figure out how to fix that. So let's see. Looks like a little less than half of you guys are here right now. So good morning, everybody. Today is August 30th, Tuesday. It is 6:23 right now. Market's going to open in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and continue marking up all of the important structures and price points where they will be relevant for today's trading session. So let's see who's here currently. Morning, Surin. Morning, Miles. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Peter. Morning, Rick. Morning, everybody. Yeah, no, I charge it, Rick. Like this is like the MX Master 3S. This is like a $200 mouse. This thing's supposed to be like one of the best mouses. It's weird because I had the old one before this, a 2S, and it never had issues. I think the issue is with the Bluetooth because I have so many Bluetooth things here, so I'm gonna have to change that. I have the trackpad for the Mac. I have the Bluetooth keyboard. Um, there's like so many Bluetooth things running around, so I think they're just overlapping with the connection. I might have to just change the frequency. Uh, which is ironic. I don't know. I like the older mouse, but I stopped making it. Morning, Vernon. Morning, Becky. Morning, Fahad. Morning, everybody. So let's see. I'm going to mark up things over here. So I've marked up the current zones on the chart. I'm going to go over here to the Forex Factory calendar. I'm going to see if there's any news for today. So we had news earlier today at 6 o'clock. So we had 6 o'clock news, HPI, S&P, CS Composite. It was negative news. So I'm going to mark that up over here at 6 o'clock. All right, so I'm just going to make it a little more straightforward. So I'm just going to put 6 a.m. US news, negative. We don't really care if it's high impact or not. I just want to see what was it, if it was negative or positive, so that we can identify, if price reacted to it properly or if it did the opposite. We have more news coming up at 7 o'clock and at 8 o'clock. High impact news at 7. That's going to really affect the market. JOLTS job openings for sure, and CV consumer confidence. Also at 8 o'clock, we have Fed member Williams speaking. I'm pretty sure he's going to just comment on the jobs news, which is pretty obvious because he's talking right after. So we'll have that at 7 and then at 8 o'clock. So we have some time in between to take trades, which is perfect. Going over here to my FX book, let me just refresh this as well. So my FX book for today, we've got JOLTS job openings, same thing. We also have the Dallas Fed Services Index, and that's about it. Just one more news event in between. So this kind of sucks because we have so many news events coming right after each other. But we'll try to make the best of it. Hopefully we'll get some trades before it, hopefully in between or after. But we'll see where this takes us. So other than that, I think we're good to go. So let's see who's here. Got a couple other people who just joined the room. Morning, Jonathan. Morning, Maria. Morning, Fahad. Morning, Talanji. Morning, Karen. Morning, Al. Morning, Melvin. Morning, David. Morning, Deswell. Morning, Marco. Morning, everybody. So, all right, guys, I've marked up the current zones right here on the chart using the SRV2 indicator. I've also marked up news price right here. We had 6 a.m. news, came up right here at 6 a.m. It looks like it faked out slightly to the upside, and then it corrected right back down. The news was negative for both news events. We have the next news event coming up at 7, 7:30, then 8. Other than that, we should be good to go. So it's 6:27 right now. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. Let's take a look at the retail sentiment right now to see what the bias is looking like. It's currently 51% long, 49% short, or it's 50-50 right now. So it's pretty much straight down the middle, neutral. There's no real bias right now with regard to retail sentiment. So no long-term bias at the moment. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently up 89 points. So we'll see what happens when the market actually opens. But with that said, we have a slight bullish bias, overall neutral. Because this right here is pretty neutral. This right here is slightly bullish. It has to be above 100 points and consistently above that point to confirm it. And looking over here at the technicals, it's currently bearish. Reason for that is because the trend meter down here is red, and the pivots here are angling downwards with the red pivot over the green. So with that said, this is going to indicate that we're in a neutral bias, long-term and short-term, because the fundamentals are contradicting the technicals here, and the retail sentiment, there's like literally no bias. So that said, guys, we'll try to be a bit careful with these entries here, and we're going to have to really focus to make sure that the technical bias here on the short term is going to be very strong. So it's been dropping for a while now. So one thing that you guys want to keep in mind is how long the market has been dropping, right? Market's been dropping since 1 a.m. So basically London session price dropped a little bit, retraced slightly, and then it came right back down. But it's been in a downtrend since then. So for the past 6 hours or so, market has been in a downtrend. So we'll see if price corrects back to the upside or if it continues to drop. Either way, we'll be able to take trades, regardless. The one thing that you guys want to keep in mind, though, is going to be the sessions. Price is right between the sessions right now. So at the moment, price is pretty much ranging between these points. Right down the middle. So it is 6:29 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 seconds. So when the market opens, we'll confirm what price is going. All of the zones are currently up here right now. So in order for us to take any trades, we need price to be around this area. However, new zones can create down here at any moment. So market is now open, guys. Let's see where this goes. We're obviously not going to get any. Yes, that's correct, Steven. Steven's asking, so based on bias, today's not a good day to take the breakout. Yes, that's correct. Thanks, Brian. FTMO spread was at 190. It's now back to 130. Perfect. So spreads are looking good right now on FTMO. Morning, Patricia. Morning, everybody. So, all right, let's see where this goes. Mark up opening price as soon as it closes right here. Got about 20 seconds left on this candle. So spread's looking good. Spread is currently at 150 points right now, which is technically 15 pips, so it's not that bad. All right, so here is opening price. Color that blue. All right, so price is continuing to drop right here. We don't have any zones around this area, so there's not going to be anything for us to necessarily take. I wouldn't chase this drop right here because I feel like price will possibly fake out and then swing right back up. Let's see where the fundamentals are currently sitting right now. Fundamentals are currently up 60 points, which is not very much. Looking over here at the heat map, we'll refresh this as well. The heat map over here is pretty much all green. So as you guys can see, it shouldn't really be dropping like that. That's kind of why I'm expecting a fake out, because it's all green right now. Looking over here at the actual stock index, I mean, it's pretty split down the middle, but there's still more green stocks here, right? So I wouldn't chase this drop here. This is probably going to be a fake out. It'll just drop slightly because people are going to think that this is a continuation of the London drop, because price has been dropping since 1 a.m., right? So price has been dropping for quite some time. It's due for retracement. And then I think this right here is going to be a fake out. So I wouldn't necessarily chase this right here. You know, once the bottom here has been established, price might be pushing right back up to opening price. So this is going to be the target price point for price to reach. So I wouldn't chase this here, but I do think it's going to swing back up at some point. Looking at this right here, if this closes, this would technically be a variation V1 double body, not one that I would personally take because everything's pointing the opposite way. This would be a very counter trend trade, which I don't necessarily recommend or that I wouldn't take myself. But eventually I do think it's going to push back up and reach here, which is opening price. Right? Might happen now, might happen later, who knows? See how far this is right now. But these are all speculative trades. These are stuff that I would necessarily take because I don't like taking trades where I'm not 100% positive where it's going to go, right? If I know it's going to go there, then yeah, I'll take it. And you can see it's going straight to that point where I marked up. It's only 400 pips, so it's not really that far. This is why you don't want to chase trades like this, because you'll get stopped out or you'll get stuck in some massive drawdown. So we'll see where this goes, but I mean, currently right now, there's not really much for us to take or to follow at the moment. There's no zones at the bottom. Sentiment right here is pretty neutral. So we don't really have a specific, area and price point to be looking for. Well, we have a price point. We have that structure that I marked up right there. But we don't have like a real bias to identify that, okay, price is for sure going to come up, right? And the problem with this too is that you have a sessions right here. So you can see where price came up, rejected directly off the sessions, faked out, came back down. This might be another fake out where it comes down slightly and then it just comes right back up, right? You don't want to get caught in those types of areas. It's super risky to be trading around those points. But we'll see what happens here. This is fine if price starts to consolidate around this area, because once it does, it's going to create more zones. And that's what we need. We need these zones over here to disappear because they're irrelevant at this point. We need them to be down here. So that's literally, what I'm waiting for here at this point. There goes that fake out I just told you about. Everything I have analyzed right here played out perfect. There you go. It's going to come test open price. So price came down here, faked out, came over here, came to the sessions, faked out right here, came back down, faked out another time, and then continued back up to my target price point, which is right here. So it's still at the sessions right here. This is why you don't want to trade around the sessions. You can see how many times it's faked out, right? Depending on where you got tricked, You either would have got tricked for a buy, got tricked for the sell, or got tricked again here for the buy because it faked out again a third time. So you really don't know where price is going to go from this point. Whenever price reaches a sessions like this, it's either going to bounce off it or it's going to continue up to the upside, right? It's going to break through it and continue pushing. Right here, you can see price kind of is messing with people. It kind of pushed up a little bit, came down, spiked all the way back up, got close to the target price point, faked out again, came back right here. And I wouldn't be surprised if this spikes up from this point and goes straight to our target, which is this point right here. I think it's going to hit the target, obviously. From the beginning of the session, I did expect this to push up because it's due for retracement. And there you go with another fake out. Price is failing to swing back below the sessions right here. So just a slight push, and it looks like it's going to get to the opening price. Again, right here, another fake out. So if you guys really break it down, you can see how many fake outs happen here. Price pushed up. If you enter the buy there, fake out. If you enter the sell right here, fake out. Enter the buy again right here, fake out. And enter the sell again right here, another fake out. So there he goes. Price reaches our target price point. So analysis played out perfect. We already anticipated this to happen, played out exactly how we knew it was going to play out, but it's a risky trade. So you guys can have as much analysis as you want. If I was trading by myself, I'd probably take this for a small move in between. But since we're here on the live, I don't want to give you guys bad habits and taking these risky trades. I just want to show you that the analysis does play out if you guys know what to look for, and if you guys know where to avoid entries, which would be the red flags over here, right? When to avoid trades: when price is near sessions, near opening price, near news price, and when the candle is too big, or when price is ranging, unless if you are trading the SR rejection. SR rejection is okay for ranging markets because it's meant for the ranging markets. Steven said, man, I should have taken that buy for that reversal. I mean, Steven, once you get better at listening to my analysis, you can take these risky trades, right? Because my analysis usually plays out. Like 9 out of 10 times, if I tell you something's going to happen, it typically does happen. But you have to watch out for areas where price may be rejecting from and faking out, because right here it faked out again, right? So if you take this, if you take this candle by candle, you can literally identify every fake out that happened here. And we don't like this many fake outs. We want a direct trade. So like right here, a fake out to the upside, fake out to the downside, fake out to the upside, fake out to the downside. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, right here, if you chase this buy when price swung up, that's another fake out. That's 5 fake outs within 5 minutes. And then again, right here, see how price is coming back down? So now that price is back down here, one of two things can happen. The fake outs can either continue dropping, or it'll fake out one more time and just swing right back up. So you don't want to trade around these points. There's no guarantee, there's no real strategy to applying this, because you have a bit of a 50-50% chance of it going your way or the other. If we had a strong bias, then yeah, okay, I'd know where to trade, right? Like if this right here was like 70% short, then yeah, definitely I would have taken the buy there. But we don't have that right now. Everything's pretty neutral. So you got to weigh your pros and cons, right? And identify your probability. So any trades right here, I consider them 50-50 because there's no bias. If there was a bias, then I would trade in that direction. That'd be like a 70% probability. And then you can add other confirmations to it as well. So yeah, exactly. Patricia said, keep your money. Could have went the other way. I agree. Brian said the whipsaws destroying families. I know, it's just going back and forth. So if you were to identify the range right here, price has been ranging about 700 pips. So unless you have a really wide stop loss, you could have gotten stopped out on either way. If your stop loss was like 300 pips or even 200 pips, you can get stopped out both ways. So looking at the spread right now in FTMO, it's 190. So it's back up again. You want to be very careful when the spread's that high, because when the spread's high like that, you can get trapped in trades very easily. Yeah, exactly. David did trap Tuesday. Yeah, Marco, 100%. It's right back to 190. So you guys want to be very careful about taking entries here. If you guys do take any entries that we see, you have to remember that you got to pull out when you reach your TP. If the TP hits here on TradingView, don't get greedy. Just pull out on MT4. You might be under a couple pips or a couple points, but it's better to be safe than sorry, especially in a market like this, because realistically, price isn't going anywhere. Here's the clean chart. So as you guys can see right here, if you're following the clean chart, you can see that price is really just ranging right down here right now, right? It's where market open. So it's in a pretty wide range right now at the moment. What you could wait for is for a tighter range to get closer. What I'll do here as well is I'll mark up the high lows to identify structure. One thing that you guys want to keep in mind is liquidity sitting on top. I can really just eyeball it right now. You guys can see there's a ton of liquidity on top. So when price does finally swing to the upside, which is what I'm expecting at some point today, it's going to have to knock out all of this liquidity. So depending on where the retail traders are sitting, there's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting up here. So if there's a stop loss hunt, there's going to be little to nothing from preventing this push to happen, right? Once it starts, it's going to push all the way up. So areas to keep an eye out for: the top of the range right here, and then this top area right here. If it gets to this point, then price will probably get on the stop loss hunt and push up to this point over here and knock out all of liquidity. So just keep an eye out for possible buy entries, because when it does, you guys can see it's got a pretty big push from where it's currently at. Back to this range over here. So this is the initial range that I drew. You guys can see that this is a pretty wide range, right? Within it, there's a smaller range. So when you guys have a range within a range like this indicates that price is just squeezing. If you guys are not familiar with the squeeze, that's basically price getting tighter and tighter, aka squeezing, preparing for a breakout. When price gets really tight, it's going to break out one way or the other. My guess is that it's going to break out to the upside, but we can't really tell yet. I think this is just, so what I'm like predicting right now is that the market is just going to range until the news at 7, right? The news at 7 o'clock, because what's the news at 7 o'clock? It's the Joel's job opening. It's going to be very high impact news. So looking over here at Forex Factor, you guys can see it's coming up. CV consumer confidence, high impact, Joel's job openings. They are forecasting it to be negative, less jobs. So I think with this data, if both the news events are negative, then I could see a manipulation to the upside. Once we get that manipulation to the upside, it's going to hit all of our targets right here. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I don't think much is going to happen until 7, which is going to happen in about 15 minutes, not very long. So just be careful. As we get closer to news, you want to be very careful about taking any entries here. However, we have a zone down here, so if price pushes below, we might be able to get some sort of quick entry before that happens. Otherwise, price is just going to keep ranging until news happens, because it's really high impact news at 7. Rick said, I feels like the market is waiting on news. Patricia said, exactly, Rick. And Rick said, at least I know I'm on the same page as Sean. Yeah, I know exactly, guys. Yeah, you're definitely on the same page. I think right now it's probably going to fake out to the bottom right here. We can probably take that small fake out if we have an entry here. Just got to make sure that none of the red flags are going to hit criteria here. So what I'm looking for at this point with price pushing down like this is I'm looking for the retracement back up for it to come in, test the zone right here, and then we can probably catch it for a quick little push to the downside, just a quick 100 pips, and then wait for news, because news is coming up shortly. So there's no entry off this right here because there's no wick rejection off the structure. But if this candle closes close to the structure here, we can probably catch some sort of wick rejection, and then a moderate candle to confirm the strength of the move. Looks like it's going to be too big. Yeah. So with this right here, I would not chase this. This is a huge fake out, in my opinion. This is going to retrace up pretty heavy. It's going to come up and retest the structure. But even if it does, I think this candle here would be too big, because it would have to push up here, have a huge wick, and then pull right back down. Right. So we're looking for possible sells right now. As it gets closer to 7, around like 6:55, we're not going to be looking for any more trades. And there we go with that huge retracement. This is why you guys don't want to take big candles, right? This big candle right here is too big. This next candle is going to retrace either to the halfway mark, which it already did, or the full candle. And then once that happens, one of two things will happen. Price will either correct back down or it'll fully reverse. The same pattern, like the same pattern repeats every single time. That's why we have all of these red flags that are marked up. And we, for the most part, understand what to identify. Nice. Steven said he made 410 in a buy. I don't know why Steven took the buy, but I'm glad you made profit off it, Steven. Okay, so we have the wick rejection right here. If this closes properly, the candle's not too big, it's moderate, then we can possibly cash this. Now the candle's way too big. So again, right here, the candle just way too big. So unfortunately, no entry here. If the candle closed somewhere up here, we could have taken the entry, but the candle here is just way too big. At this point, price is going to do the same thing. It's going to retrace to the halfway mark or the full candle. So it's going to have to retrace at some point, either halfway or the entire candle. So I do not recommend anyone enter, anything at this point. I think this is another fake out. Looks like trading view is a bit frozen right now. Yeah, it's very frozen. So this is another sign that something crazy is probably going to happen soon. So trading view is frozen. There you go. Is moving again, but it was frozen for a good 10-20 seconds. We're getting close to news. I feel like a lot of manipulation is getting set up right now because the news event's going to be pretty heavy. Yeah, and Fahad also confirmed that it's right next to the Asia low. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to have any entries right now. We'll see where it takes it. So let me see. All right, so let me clean this up a little bit because the zones here have updated. One thing to keep in mind is that the the top liquidity is still sitting there. So the range just got bigger. So the range literally just got a bit bigger down here. Price is still ranging, but it's just a lot bigger now. Here we go. As price pushes back up and retests the zone again. It's getting close to news though. So if we do get an entry at this point, we might have to just wait on it. I'm going to see what the candle looks like. So there we go. As the price comes back up, the retracement that I identified earlier did exactly what we identified, right? Or what we predicted. So this big red candle right here, price came back up. Now that it's tested the full candle, one of two things will happen. Price will either correct right back down or it's going to break up and continue for a full reversal. So we'll see where this goes. However, if it closes as a moderate red candle, this can possibly still be like one last entry for an SR. Can't have that buy signal on it though. So no buy signal. Got about 20 seconds left on this. So if it closes as a moderate red candle, this will be an entry for a sell. It's got to be a moderate red candle though. It can't be just a weak one. Can't have that buy signal either. Doesn't look like it's going to close. Nope. So no entry off this. Wick on the bottom is just too big. That would hit TP too. If only it didn't close like that. It spreads back to 180. 650 right now. So if you don't get an entry soon, then we're just gonna have to wait for news to pass. So you guys can follow this candle here. It needs to close as a moderate red candle though. So just keep that in mind. Got about 20 seconds left on this candle. Yeah, I know, Patricia should stay out. It's sketchy. Yeah, I'm probably gonna sit out, guys. I don't want to force anything here. I'll follow it. If it closes out as a solid candle, like we'll follow it, but I don't think I'm gonna be taking it. It's super sketchy right now. And it's getting close to news price. So this would be a valid entry, but or no, it's not. It's kind of an iffy entry. Would have hit TP2 right there though, but the wick right there was kind of questionable, right? It was, I mean, I guess you could consider a moderate candle because if you measured the wick there, it's not as big as the body. So that's the main thing to look for. If you guys are not familiar with like what a moderate candle is, rewatch the mentoring session from yesterday. I covered a lot of examples for moderate candles. So this one right here would possibly fit the criteria. The only reason I'm saying that is because, so if you measure the body, it just can't be larger than the body, right? That's going to be the key thing here. So the body right here is about 130 pips. The bottom wick was less than half of that, six points. So this would have been an okay entry. It would have been solid, fit all criteria, would have been good. The only problem is that it's, it's so close to news right now, and price is just starting to range at this moment. So if you guys took a great full TP, if not, it's okay. Just wait until after news is passed. So. Whenever I yawn we're on these live sessions, it's the market's like super boring. I'm ready for summer to end though. It's August 30th, guys, so it's another day till September 1st, or no, it's 2 days. 2 days until September, and then I think mid-September is when fall is officially started. So as we enter the fall season, volatility is going to pick up a lot. We're going to have a lot better entries for us to take. So, yeah, as of now, just got to sit tight, wait for news to come. Yeah, Maria said, this is today's attitude, waiting for the perfect setup, right? Lots of patience is necessary here. David over here, David locked in at 430 for the day. Nice work, David. Took some entries off market open. Maddie over here as well. Took some sells, took some buys. Total profit of 5,010 for the day. Nice. So Maddie did pretty good. Traded a lot during Asia session, it looks like. Or yeah, looks like Maddie traded right here when the price started to drop during London. And then right now it's 634 and 635. He took a couple buys on open earlier. He caught those rides back to opening price. So yeah, no, glad to see a lot of you guys here profited off my analysis for price swinging back to open. Did pretty good. Seth over here as well. Currently have 11,847 for the day. Nice. Nice work, Seth. All right, so not bad. Seth took this trade at around the same time market open. Roll that back to the target price earlier. So, all right, guys. So other than that, 655 right now. Market's going to enter news price right here at 7. Once we have that, this is kind of what I see happening. I think price will come down to the sessions over here. It'll reject off it and push right back up. I think that's probably what's going to happen at this point. This is why it's important that you guys have structure marked up, because structure is really going to show you where these fake outs are going to happen, which will typically happen at red flag areas like news price, opening price, and sessions. So there goes price bounces around this area. This is, just remember, this is an area of manipulation. So one of two things will happen when price reaches this point. Price will either fake out and swing back up, or it'll just continue dropping from here. And there goes the fake out. Price closed below, faked out, swung right back up. My freaking legs are super itchy. It was weird. When I was in Cabo, I got no bug bites. And then now that I got home, I don't know if the bug bites just weren't itchy when I was in Cabo, but now I got so many bug bites all over. Maddie said he's testing something. All right, Maddie. So we'll see. May said thinking it's going down to London low as it fakes out. As a fake out, then shoot up. Yeah, no, that could happen too. Mace. London lows down here. So yeah, that's the thing here. So as I mentioned right here, this will fake out. So it already faked out, looks like. Price came down, faked out for the sell, came back up, faked out for the buy, and then out came back down. It's either going to continue down to the next level or it's going to fake out again. Right. So I'm going to clean this up. News is going to come up in about 4 minutes. Just gotta wait and see what happens here. So it's still around the sessions right here. It hasn't really pushed away. Main thing to look out for when price gets to this point is confirmation, right? You really want to just confirm, where it's going to go. One thing that I noticed here is that when price is near the sessions, there's kind of a way to identify where it's going to continue. So turn on the sessions over here real quick. All right, so I just noticed it right here. All right, so as you guys can see how price was at the sessions right here? What you can do is you can look at the high lows from where price is currently at. So see how price kind of was faking out a lot right here? This is like on open. What you could wait for is for price to break and close past this range right here. There's like these little things that I start to notice. So you can see how price kind of bounces around, and you can see right here where it closes below. At this point, you can take a short position. Because typically it pushes at least 500 pips in that direction. Or you could even take it later. And then it goes and hits TP right there. I just noticed that right now. So as you guys can see, I mean, if you go look at certain things on the market, you can pretty much identify certain stuff. Like again, right here, price broke below, kind of range for a bit. And if you guys want to play around with something like this, I mean, you guys can easily put something like this together. So again, right here, price got into this area, but you're typically looking for price to break and close below it. So you can see from these points, price were touching it from this point, but it never actually broke below. So you just keep adjusting your high lows until it actually closes. And then again, right here, see if it actually closes. So right here, it did close. And the same thing again, 500 pips. And eventually it does hit TP. It takes a while, but it does hit TP. So I just noticed that right now. So if that's something that people want to go and play around with, looks like it's worth a try. All right. So news is coming up right now in about a minute. Rick said, did you catch malaria? Nah, man, I want to be live right now. Be in a freaking hospital. All right, so jokingly, right? Sorry, hit my dog. Okay, so news is coming up right here. Here is the news candle. Let's see what the news is looking like. They're probably gonna delay it a little bit so they can lure in some more people. So I don't think price is going to spike until the market makers have identified, where the retail traders are currently sitting. So right now, you can see nothing is really happening off this news price right here. We got to wait for it to close, but expect a lot of manipulation to happen as soon as the market makers have identified where these retail traders are sitting. All right, both positive news. So with both positive news right here, I'm assuming it'll fake out to the upside first, and then it'll come back down, or it'll do the opposite. It looks like right here it's faking out to the upside. So I wouldn't chase that buy there. I think this is a fake out. It's just pretty much luring in the buyers here because, if you're a trader that doesn't know how to play around with like the news, or you don't understand how the market makers manipulate news, you're gonna take a buy. If you see positive news right there, everyone's gonna bandwagon onto some buys, right? So like, oh, news is positive, price has to go up. So I think it's gonna fake out to the upside and then maybe drop further. This is gonna be 7 a.m. US news, positive. So it's very positive. There's actually a lot of jobs. So right here, last month, it was at 10.70 million. They were predicting it to be less at 10.37 million. It was actually double almost what it was last month. So the thing with this right here is that this doesn't necessarily tell you that the economy is doing well, right? This kind of tells you that people are lazy, not getting jobs, because this is how it was during COVID. There were so many jobs, but nobody wanted to take a job. It's still been like that. It's crazy. Everyone's living off like what is that thing called? Unemployment. So CV consumer confidence is good. They think economy is getting better. Joel's job opening is up as well. I feel like if you guys have been following the news, I feel like this stuff here is all part of the bigger game. It's all manipulation. Like they're making it seem like we're not going into a recession, but we really are. They usually go off like the GDP numbers. I think the GDP news came out last week as well. I can't remember. But typically when the GDP is negative after 2 quarters, we're like technically in a recession. So I think throughout the month they're going to mess around with people and change the number up so it looks like we're not going through a recession, but realistically we are. There's like the whole market is manipulated, right? I hope that like everyone understands that. That's why I like to scalp, because I like to be in and out of the market quickly, because whenever news events come out that are high impact, like the Joel's job openings, especially on Friday, NFP is going to be a big news event that's going to affect the market because it happens once a month. That's like a true indicator of like of the US economy. So I think they're going to keep messing around with the market, make it seem like we're not going to a recession, but I don't know how we wouldn't be going to a recession, especially with everything that's been going on. Like with the war as well. I don't know if you guys saw the news over the weekend, war in Ukraine. I mean, the war's been going on, but I feel like everyone kind of forgot about it. But the US is getting more involved. So we'll see where this takes us. Anyways, here is the news price right here. News was positive, faked out to the upside, and then now here we are as price starts to come back below. So the fake out we identified did play out. It wasn't as big as a fake out as I was expecting, but it did push up slightly and came right back down. Let's check the sentiment. I don't think people really hopped into the market. If it's still 50-50, not too many retail traders hopped into the market. I think everyone's kind of waiting just like we are. Still 50-50. So nothing's really happened here. A lot of retail traders are they're being smart right now, and they're not like FOMOing into these trades. So I think right now price will probably consolidate for a bit before it chooses its direction. Yeah, Seth said these retail traders need to gamble some more. I agree, 100%. So I feel like the market makers right now are starting to lure people in. They're trying to push price one way or the other so that retail traders will bandwagon onto that move, right? If they drop price low enough, retail traders will hop into that sell. As soon as people enter those sells, it's going to spike right back up, or vice versa. They're going to push price up. And then as more retail traders try to bandwagon to buying that dip, they're going to spike price right back down. So See, Peter said the news made DXY go up is up, which is why US30 is dropping. I'm not sure what the correlation is between the DXY and US30. I thought they were aligned, Peter. I don't think they're supposed to go opposite of each other. I mean, we could check. Let's see. So here, let's do this. We could do 2 charts. So I don't know the correlation between DXY. I know for a long time they used to go the same direction. But US30 is doing the complete opposite, so I can't really say. They're not always doing the opposite though. So yeah, if you look at the DXY over here, is actually just go for midnight. So it looks like it did kind of the opposite, but I can't really tell. Because they're not the same thing. Like they're not a direct correlation. Like the US30 is 30 stocks in the US. DXY is like the entire US economy. So I wouldn't necessarily base, the entire US economy on like 30 stocks. Fundamentals here are red. Price starting to dump pretty heavy. So yeah, I can't really tell unless anyone here like knows the actual correlation. I just know that during COVID, DXY and US30 were aligned, but there's no specific. Yeah, so B said if DXY goes up, indices go down. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Maybe it was just COVID when they were moving in the same direction. But I can't really say because I don't use these as correlating assets. And I hate how the chart looks like this. Okay, let me change these colors real quick. Colors were just bugging me. It's harder to see on the 1 minute, but if you go on something higher, like say the 60, the 1 hour. So you guys can see right here that so check this out right here. Peter, you can see that they do move in the same direction, right? This is exactly the same. So I don't think there's a correlation here. I don't know, like some people say there's a correlation, but I don't see it because right here, this is the same time and it's going the same direction. Right now, it's doing the complete opposite. So I don't necessarily use this as a straight correlation because during COVID, they're moving the same direction. Just right now, because of the news, it's going opposite. So I would probably not use this as a direct correlation. I mean, you can use it if you want to look at certain things, but you can see right here, this is from August 9th right here. It was doing the same exact thing. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it's based off news. I mean, I don't really know how exactly they correlate. Yeah, B said it's typically just used as a confluence. Yeah, I mean, you can use it as a confluence, as like a very backbone confluence. I wouldn't use that as a main thing. Like if this is going up, I wouldn't necessarily buy. Or if it's doing the opposite, I wouldn't do the opposite either. Because if you go back further, like this is just in August. If you go back to COVID, it was like literally mirror at the same time. But that made sense because both the markets were highly manipulated. Everyone was expecting price to go down, but then it was going up for whatever reason. Let's see. Madhu said the session strategy you were just talking about would have worked again. Yeah, I just saw it right now too. Madhu. Right here, right? When I got down to the Asia low. Price came up, came back down, closed below. Could have taken that for 500 pips. Yeah, no, it looks good. So, I mean, if anything, we can probably play around with it at some point, and then we can figure out, if this is something that we want to further test. This is how I come up with strategies. I literally just look at charts and I can see patterns just play out perfectly every time I see something happen. A lot of these entries or strategies are based off catalysts, right? So you have a catalyst, the reason to take an entry. The reason why we had an entry for the sessions like that is because there's a catalyst there, right? Whenever price reaches sessions, one of two things will happen. You have a 50% chance whether price will fake out to the upside for a correction or if it continues to drop. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to play around with it, I think it's a pretty solid starting point. From there, you add more confluences like the trend, or you add something like the sessions or the high low or something like that. There's just a lot of different ways to trade. That's why I never stick to like, well, I mean, I do stick to one way of trading, one style of trading, but I don't necessarily stick to just one strategy, even though the strategy still works. Just depends on like what the market's giving you at the time. So I guess we can probably test it out again right here, Madhu. So there's no high point. That's a problem. So there's no high point right now, but there is a low point. So we could follow it right here. I'm not taking this trade, but I'm just going to use this to see if there's any type of entry that might be taken. Yeah, John said it actually tested this strategy a while back. Yeah, this strategy works very similar to like the breakout, right? Because the breakout, you can do the same thing. There's a catalyst there. It's going to be opening candle. I've tested strategies like this as well, like the K2SR rejection. Or the high-low rejection of the K2SR rejection. I've tried something like this before, and it looks good when you see it here, but sometimes it just never comes up. It's like very rarely where it'll come up. So yeah, John called it the swing high, swing low strategy. Yeah, I know we're looking at the same thing. All right, so there's no zones below here. If we get a zone at some point below here, then we can start looking for entries. But right now, there's no zone. Looking at that thing that we were just talking about, if it closes below here, then it may continue to drop lower. Well, we'll see. Let's have that marked up there. All right, so I got it marked up right here. If you guys are not familiar with like what we were looking over and whatnot, well, actually, I don't think this would be an entry here because the low is repainted. So that would actually not be an entry. The low has to be established. We'll keep following it though. So once a high gets established, we can draw that as well, but we don't have a high yet. Same with the low right here. All right, let's see the sentiment if it's changed at all. All right, so sentiment changed slightly. It's now 51% short. So you can see retail traders are starting to chase this sell here. This is where you want to be careful because if they're chasing the sell, price is probably going to swing back up to stop them all out. So I think they might continue to drop price a little more in order to lure in some more traders. And then once they have, then I think it's going to swing right back up. So this over here is still sitting there. Not really much going on yet. Natasha said made a little money off it, but I manually entered, traded, used TP stop loss. Yeah, no, definitely. Sisu said institutionals use them with a higher time frame, usually monthly. Yeah, no, I can see that too. Sisu. John said if jobs go up, that means Powell has a greater chance of raising interest rates. Interest rate is going to push DXY up and US30 down. Yeah, and I can see that exactly, John. John's spot on with that analysis right there. That's why I see it differently. Yeah, David said, I think the stronger the dollar, the fewer dollars investors can get, which weakens the market. I think I read that somewhere. That's why Trump used to want the Fed to weaken the dollar so that markets go up. Yeah, no, I remember that too. Seth said, did everyone collectively decide that gambling is no longer a thing? You know, the thing with the market, guys, is that once we reach the fall, even like a lot of the traders who are not necessarily great traders, but they're like resale traders, like majority of people, they re-enter the market as well. So in the fall, it's not just the big market makers and stuff getting into the market. A lot of the resale traders who also go on summer vacations and aren't necessarily on the chart a lot, they're going to come back to their computers come fall, and there's gonna be a lot of volatility because there's gonna be a lot more retail traders for market makers to trick. So, all right, here we are. Let's see. All right, so the range here is now established. So the range has now been established. See if it ends up closing below there. C6 said, Seth, give it time. Gamblers never have the fortitude. Yeah, I know exactly. There's going to be a handful of people who are going to start following into trades, right? It always happens. Happens to everyone, including ourselves. So it's a matter of time. And volatility really died down, huh? So news right here was positive, faked out to the upside, came right back down. How much did the price move since then? Price pushed up about 330 pips and then it dropped right back down to 150 pips. So see what's the deal here. All right, so let's see here if this candle closes below. Obviously, I'm not taking this entry here. We're just kind of playing around with the with that strategy we just randomly thought of not too long ago. So if a new low is established, just keep in mind that the low just gets dropped a bit lower. So not much changes, just the low gets dropped down a little lower. All right, so here goes the range. And it seems like price is just going to try and consolidate a bit until the next news event at 7:30. So we got another news event right here. The candles are getting smaller and smaller, which is kind of blows my mind because we had such a high impact news event here. And it seems like the volatility is literally at flatline. Like this candle right here was barely, the body's like less than a pip. The entire candle was like 19 pips, like nothing. It's weird. With the candles moving really small like this, I think it's preparing for a breakout. So just keep that in mind, guys. I think it's looking to lure in more traders on one side or the other. Once there's enough traders, they're just going to spike price to basically stop them out. Sentiment here changed back 50-50. So the people that were in a sell, they pulled out. Looks like they got scared. Or they're getting smarter. They're starting to anticipate this as well. All right, here we go. As price continues to move sideways. If this ends up closing above, then it's probably gonna be a buy, not a sell. Or the said quit saying they're getting smarter. I know they're not. It's just having a good day right now. Or they're just not in the market. I think for the most part, a lot of retail traders are just not in the market, right? Because it's just not changing. Like this here, typically, like during the fall, during the spring, this is changing like 5, 10 points, 20 points a day. This has been pretty flat all week. What I see here is that a lot of people are just waiting for NFP. Like realistically, I think people are just waiting for NFP, right? That's pretty much what's happening. I think people are starting to realize that NFP week is a risky week to trade, and they're just waiting until Friday. Or what they're doing is the gamblers are waiting until Friday because they don't want to lose all their money early in the week, and they want to either have a big win on Friday or lose all their money, right? That's how gamblers work. Um, so yeah, back to what Seth is saying. People aren't necessarily getting smarter. They're just finding better ways to lose their money. Because the thing is, a lot of people can like I know some people who specifically trade, like they only trade NFP. Like I'm sure you guys have seen those guys on YouTube, right? There's people who sell signals and they literally only trade NFP. And what happens is they either lose a lot of people money or they make a lot of people money. It's like all luck for them. Um, like I forgot what this guy was. There was this one Indian dude that was like on he was pretty big in like the forex space. And all he would do is he would trade NFP. Like he would show his MC4 and he'd be in like huge profits, but literally that he was gambling because he waited for NFP every month, just one trade every month. He either made a lot of money and he would post it, or he'd lose a lot of money and just disappear for a month and then come back a month later and do the same thing to scam people. Um, I mean, it's doable, right? Like for NFP, you get so much volatility that you can really catch the big spikes one way or the other. It just depends on like whether you get lucky or not, because it's really hard to predict, especially if your stop loss is like super tight. I'm not gonna say that name out, but you'll see. You'll see in the Zoom chat. Yeah, because if anyone hears that name, they're for sure gonna get upset. You know, there's a lot of fanboys out there. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's crazy how like if you guys have been in the trading space for a while, you'll see like it's funny because there's people in the trading space who like talk so much trash about like other traders who start their own broker. And then all of a sudden they start their own broker and they're posting crazy profits because they're trading on their own broker. Uh the trading space is like a funny space. I've been in trading for like, I don't know what, 11 years now. And then like with K2 with you guys for about like almost 9 years now, right? 9 or 7 years. You guys will see that like there's a lot of people in the space who like will switch up real quick. Like they'll be so against like other traders and other signal providers and stuff. And then as soon as like they see these people making so much money, they go and they start their own funding company or their own signals. And it's like they're doing the same thing that they were just hating on these other people for. they're just late to the party, right? The thing with K2 is like I don't really want to have that type of notoriety, right? Because you'll see a lot of these other people who have like a bad reputation in the trading space because they trade on their own broker and they think all their profits are fake. They don't trade live. They do signals, which they're usually copied from different groups. You know, I don't want to have that notoriety for K2 or now Kodi Kai, I guess, because like that image like follows you. Like I've seen a lot of people who will start a company, it'll fail, and then they just rebrand, but everybody knows who that person is. They'll know that at some point that person was scamming people. So just keep that in mind. But you know, I don't really care about what other people are doing. I just focus on me and I focus on what our trades here. Okay, so price actually broke below here. This isn't an actual entry, but we're just going to follow it. This is something that we've been playing around with for today because there isn't any other entries at this point. There just isn't anything for us to take right now. I agree with you, Peter. Super annoying. That's why I've never watched any of the videos. I try to watch his videos at some point to see what he's been doing, like what kind of trading he does. But yeah, I can't stand the voice. I forgot someone in the group was like talking about his list or something. I don't know. It's just I just can't listen to that for like an hour. Um All right, so price isn't really doing much now. It's still going back and forth. We have this that's currently running. This isn't an actual entry, okay, guys. If you guys are just joining the live stream, I basically kind of showed something where price was, you can trade off like the sessions or whatever. But like Seth said, it's highly overextended, and I agree with you 100%. So I wouldn't take it. We're just, looking at it. But here you can see here on the higher time frame that price has been dropping since like 1 a.m. So a 30-minute. So actually the high point is right here at 5:30, or never mind, take that back. We're so far behind. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw a circle right here. So price started dropping here around 1 a.m. last night or this morning. So it's extremely overextended. So if you measure this from here, it's dropped about 4,650 pips, right? So at this point, yeah, I expect some sort of retracement because price hasn't even like consolidated. It did from this point. So if you want to just move this from here, I mean, you can. So if you use it from this point here, price has dropped and there hasn't been any retracement or like heavy consolidation until possibly now. So it's dropped down 4,600 pips since about 3 a.m. this morning. And then from this point, it's due for retracement, right? Which is basically what's happening right here. So price is retracing to the upside, and this will hit stop loss. So the thing with this right here that we were discussing is that there should be another confluence to it. I think the confluence would be the trend meter and possibly momentum, right? So I think for something like this, you probably want to wait for maybe not the trend meter because the trend doesn't really matter for these moves like this. You probably want to wait for a strategy entry. Okay, so like right here, for example, right, there's a V1. This could have been the indicator right here for the entry for a possible fake out. So you'd have had the range drawn up right here. Before entering, you look for some sort of possible reversal or a pending momentum. Like for example, right here, pending momentum for a buy. And you could have done the opposite instead. Instead of taking the sell, would have taken the buy and price would push in that direction. But again, there's no strategy for this. This is just something that we were playing around with. There's always going to be like that would be the bare bone way of identifying it. And then from there, you would add other confluences like momentum, trend, pivots, SR zones, etc., to help identify, which direction you should be trading in. And also like with Seth and Peter and everybody else, same with Madhu here, identifying that price was overextended, that'd probably be the biggest red flag right there. Like you probably wouldn't want to take a trade in that direction since it's been overextended for so long. You probably do the opposite or wait for it to come back down for a retest. Yeah, exactly. Madhu said it might need a strong breakout of the range. It looks like it only slightly extended the range before extending to the top as well. Yeah, no, same here. Peter said, I'm guessing NFP will be positive and it pushes all the way up. Yeah, no, and I could see that too, Peter. A lot of the times during NFP week, the market pretty much sets up for the big push, right? That's typically what happens. So like if you go over here, and I'm not missing anything, I'm coming back to the charts, guys. I'm just showing you guys a couple of things here. So like NFP here on August, first week of August. I don't know what day that was, but the first day of August was, yeah, so NFP was the first week of August. So August 1st right here, right? It's going to mark up August 1st. Up until August 5th. All right, so the same thing pretty much happened here, right? So from August 1st, price was pretty much consolidating, dropping, correction, and then consolidation. But initially it dropped from here. And then when NFP happened here on August 5th, it shot all the way up, right? That's kind of what we're expecting here as well for this week. If price continues to drop, then it's probably going to go the opposite way. Still no entry there. Let me look back to July. I mean, these are kind of bad examples because July, the summer months are slower months. For July over here, July 1st was NFP. So July 1st, which was July 1st. Okay, so this is actually a way better example. So July 1st, June 27th. Okay, so here's a way better example. So this was NFP for July. This is kind of what Peter is identifying for today. Let me just clean up the charts a little bit, take all this stuff off. So this was Monday for July 1st, for July NFP. Price was dropping pretty much all week, right? And then right here on NFP, price did the opposite and pushed all the way up. So huge push from this point. Price pushed up about 7,000 pips, right? So yeah, you're right, Peter. I mean, this can happen. If price continues to drop, this is where you should pretty much look for it. If price goes one direction for the entire week, NFP is typically going to do the opposite. It's a correction back up. So you can see the fake out right here, though. So there was a fake out on open. This was a news candle here. Price faked out up, came back down, but it corrected all the way back up. So this was an NFP right here. It actually dumped like about 4,000 pips, but then it corrected and went right back up 7,000 pips. So that's something that you guys can look at. I wouldn't necessarily take it right on NFP, but wait for the correction because it'll fake out up. So first it faked out to the upside, 2,400 pips, and then it faked out to the bottom side, 4,000 pips, and then it corrected all the way up 7,000 pips. So yeah, possibly something to look for. And there we go, the fake out here again for that consolidation phase. There's still no zones around this area, so there's no entries we can take. I mean, it wouldn't really matter too much because we had news that just passed right here anyways. I'm going to mark up news price right there. That's why I wasn't really looking. Let's check the news real quick. News for that. My FX book was, I mean, it was pretty mixed. It was neutral. So there was news right here, which was Dallas Fed Services Index was positive, but their services revenues was negative. So we'll just put neutral for that right there. 7:30 US news neutral. All right, so we'll see where it goes from here. Anyways, back to what we were just saying. Peter is spot on with where price can possibly go. So we'll keep this right here marked up. Let's see, this week started on the 28th or 29th, I guess, Monday. And we'll just see where it goes. So from now up until the 2nd, 5 o'clock. So I'll just leave this up here. We'll come back as we continue pushing on with the week. If it continues dropping, then you can expect NFP to possibly shoot up. Or long-term direction is going to be bullish on Friday. Let's see. Brian said he drew in some 4-hour and 1-hour zones and caught the SR rejections that way, and it worked. Yeah, no, definitely. It does work pretty well in the higher time frames too, Brian. The only problem with US30 is that it moves so much on those higher time frames. So it's hard to really gauge, the TP stop loss. But I've seen it before. It does work pretty well, even on those higher time frames. I think for this 1 minute over here, I'm going to try and leave these liquidity areas up here, because if price does push up, they'll still be valid, even though it's like a new day. But yeah, what Brian mentioned over here is that he drew up SR zones on the higher time frame. I'm gonna leave this up too. I'm gonna try to leave up a lot of the drawings that we did during the week. I don't know if Stanley, if you're here, but the thing that we drew up yesterday right here, the range, it faked out and then it came right back down. So what we went over yesterday was Stanley was identifying this as a possible correction back to the upside to fill the gap. Looks like it faked out right here, and then it's more people enter the buy, just slump away back down. So we'll keep an eye on it. However, there's no zones over here still. Let me see if any of these have deleted. This one right here deleted, so I'm gonna take that off. It wouldn't really matter because price is so far off anyways. Let's see. All right, other than that, we have news coming up again at 8. So I'm hoping we can get at least one trade. There's another zone that came up right here, but it's still way too far off. The thing with price though is that it's still overextended. So that's something to still keep in mind. It's going to clean this up right here. We'll use this as the 10. So still right here, price is way overextended, and it still has not swung back up yet. Or not even swing up. It just hasn't even consolidated. So what I'm going to do right here is I'll put a couple of drawings so that you guys can visualize it a little better. Where the drop started. Drop started right here. The reason why I'm not starting from this point is because there was a retracement. This is where price has dropped and has not retraced since. Still no zones around this area. It's getting close to 8, unfortunately. Let's see, Patricia posted some profits. So she said she locked in 1,630 off this account. She said the others are chilling now, done for the day. And then her second account over here, she locked in a total profit of 930. Nice work, Patricia. So it looks like a lot of you guys here took that back to open entry that we identified. It looks like it played out pretty nice for a lot of you guys. Other than that, Josh over here as well, currently up about 500 for the day. Nice work, Joshua. Not bad. Andreas over here as well, currently up about well over 900 euros, almost 1,000 euros. So great work right there, Andreas. Patricia over here again, her other account locked in a total of 930. Nice. So a lot of you guys here are doing pretty solid. Rick said brought my dead funded account back to life. He's currently at 4,155 for the day. Nice work, Rick. Yeah, no, I saw your message. You guys got to be careful when you guys pass a challenge. You guys got to make sure to take it off your copier, because you might end up taking trades when you might think it's on one account, but it'll be copying to your other account, and it'll just screw everything up if you take a loss on that. Maddie over here as well, currently up 7,480 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. Solid wins right there. Let's see, Forex news, Taiwan military drone headed towards China after shots fired. We'll see. All right, I think other than that, this market is super dead. But this is normal. So if you guys remembered yesterday, we talked about this. We mentioned that, or I mentioned that NFP kind of works a bit tricky. Sometimes it's like volatile all week. Sometimes it's like pretty slow Monday, Wednesday, and then it picks up Wednesday through Friday. So this is completely fine, where price is not necessarily pushing anywhere. The thing that I want to make sure is that we don't FOMO into any trades like yesterday, right? Yesterday's trade could have been easily avoided because it was in the same situation. It was overextended for a sell. It like almost never retraced up. So that could have been easily avoided. And we would have just had no trade yesterday. So I'm not going to make that same mistake today. Just want to make sure that we actually have some sort of consolidation here before we take any entries in that direction. So for example, right here, we do have consolidation right here. So this is okay. That works for us. And then again, down here, as price continues to move along, we'll have another area of consolidation somewhere around this area, if possible. So we'll see where the market goes, but I think for the most part, there isn't really much going on. Here in the 1 hour, you can see it even better. It hasn't retraced. Drops came down from here, no retracement, no consolidation, no nothing. And now the volume is pretty dead. You can see this candle here is not even moving. Same with the 1 minute. The volume here is pretty much dead. It looks like a lot of people might be waiting for the Fed to speak. The Fed's speaking here at 8 o'clock. So it seems like nothing's really happening because you're waiting to gamble off that news event again. A lot of people just trade news events. So if you guys have seen, market will be dead for like a long time. Like for example, right here, market was super dead. As soon as the news came out, price dropped. Again, right here, right? Price was consolidating for a long time. As soon as news happened, price dropped. It's the same with this right here. Price looks like it's just going to consolidate again for a bit. As soon as price reaches news over here, then again, from that point, it'll probably spike one way or the other. So just keep that in mind. There's no need to really force anything today if there's nothing for us to take. I sometimes stay on the charts after 8, but I think for today, I'm probably not going to do that. The reason for that is because we have high impact news coming up with regard to Fed member Williams speaking. This is going to cause the market to be a bit erratic, and with our tight stop losses, this could be a bad thing, especially if price doesn't really have a direction. So for today, there isn't really much of a direction. If you look over here to the sentiment, there's still nothing at this point. It's still at 50-50, so it's pretty neutral. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently down 313 points, so they're pretty red now at the moment. Looking over here at the heat map has changed quite a bit. It's now pretty much mixed, but it's still very red overall. Let's see. So Rick said, "I'm out. Good luck, everyone." He passes phase 1 today. Forgot about the copier, lost 8K, that made it back to pass. Nice work, Rick. Yeah. That's probably your cue to call it a day, get your past evaluation, and then move on to your verification tomorrow. So congrats, Rick, on recovering your account. Oh, that was last week. Okay, so the same thing happened again this week. Oh, you're funded now. Okay, yeah. So nice. Congrats, Rick. So Rick, yeah, he did the same thing last week where he had an issue. Or no, last week he just passed, but you didn't make the mistake. This week he passed his verification, but then accidentally had a copier on and nearly lost it. And then today he made it right back. So nice work, Rick. So guys, Rick's funded. Another funded account for Rick. He's got to keep you funded this time, Rick. Less gambling from here, or more gambling, depending if this is your yellow account. Rick said, I need more than one payout. Yeah, exactly. Just keep the lot size. You can still gamble, just keep the lot sizes on proper size, because you can always gamble on like a small lot size if you need that rush, which I'm sure that's what you're looking for. So that's what everybody's looking for, right? Like some people, like Steven here. Steven still here? Yeah, like Steven will take trades on like a 10 lot, and he's like on a 50K account. Like he's really gambling to the max. Some people just get that rush, right? They just want to make the profit right away. For me, I'm on a 10 lot. I could technically use more, but I just want consistency. So like I use it to use proper risk. I'm only risking about like maybe, 2 or 3%, you can risk about 5 per day. And since we rarely lose, it fits the criteria. Yeah, Rick said I never go over a 5 lot on a 100K account. Yeah, and that's solid, Rick. I think that's good if you're going for a small move, and then for a bigger move, maybe never go over 3 lots or even a 1 lot if it's like a big 1,000 pip move. Yeah, no, that's fine. If you do that, Rick, I think you should be fine. Sets to those 0.1s will get the cravings out of you. I know, no, definitely. That's kind of what happened last week. So remember last week we took that accidental loss that I took, but then luckily my lot size was like at a 0.01. So I lost like 30 cents instead of 3,000. So I made a huge, huge difference. And if I made profit on it, it would have been same thing. Just made another 750. Yeah, you got to leave, Rick. You're done already with that account. Yeah, I know, Seth, right? 300 bucks or 330 cents. Huge, huge loss on a 0.01. I think it was on like on MFF too, because MFF uses like micro lots. So a 0.01 on MFF is like super, super low compared to a 0.01 on FTMO. I know, right, Peter? 30 cents. What's that? Yeah, I should, right, Seth? If I'm using a 0.01, where's the point in that? But if you're on a really small account, then yeah, it makes sense. But all jokes aside, 0.01s are okay, guys. If you're still using a 0.01, you guys are good. You guys are still learning. Yeah, exactly. Seth said penny trades is where it all started. Literally. Just saw your message, Maddie. Yeah, exactly. Even after it's all done. All right, man, this market is not giving us anything. So I'm waiting for another zone here to reapply. There's no zones yet. The ones up here are still fine, but there's no zones down here. Let's see, Sean over here as well. So Tasha over here, currently up 308. Nice work, Tasha. And Sean over here, he's currently up 2,262. So nice work, guys. You guys both did pretty good. Mills on over here. He's just waiting. Yeah, that's how mine looks like right now too. No trades on my account. There was a couple trades that I saw pre-market that I was going to take, but I didn't. They would have hit TP, but it's all good. But yeah, Seth over here is just waiting as well. Or not Seth, the mill's on. The mill's on. And myself. Yeah, no, exactly. Natasha said trading small until she gets this. Yeah, so Natasha over here actually did okay. She did 308. And she's using these smaller lot sizes. She's actually using a 0.01. So Seth and Peter over here calling out the 0.01s. She's actually doing okay because this is a normal lot size. A 0.01 that she's using here is like equivalent to like a 0.001 on FTMO. But for your broker that you're playing with right here, Natasha, that you're using your demo account on, they're actually using standard lots. So your 0.01 is actually equivalent to like a 0.10 on FTMO or MFF. I can't remember. So you're technically still trading a bit more. All right, Seth said it gets the itch out of you, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what I used to do with my personal accounts. So with my personal accounts, I would just use a super small lot size if I wanted to take something that was risky, just to see how it played out. Man, 750 right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It's getting really close to 8. Unfortunately, today I was planning on staying on a little longer, but the Fed's speaking today, so I don't even feel like trading around that time. Yesterday I stayed on a little more. So if you guys remember yesterday, we took a loss, unfortunately, but I stayed on a little longer and I made my profit back. I was going to do that today, but it's just not the day for that. So you can see right here, I had one win, one loss. I stayed on for like one last trade at 807 and I locked in 850. off those accounts. So let me see what's going on over here. So CSU's doing pretty good. I'm just looking at CSU's profits right now. And Kip too. Kip's been holding a trade since what was it, last Friday? And Kip is up a lot. So Kip's like, he's holding a trade right here. Basically a 5 lot on TFF, I believe. So he's letting this run. This has been running since Friday. 66,650. That's crazy. Yeah, do you remember when he took his trades? Sisu, I think it was from Friday, right? I wasn't trading on Friday because I was when Powell speaking. Okay, so he's been holding this since when Powell spoke on Friday. And that's crazy. Just hold that sell the whole time. So let me go over here real quick. So Kip has basically been holding that sell since right here. I think it was the 26th, right? Yeah, 26th. So Powell is speaking here on 26th. He's been pretty much holding that trade since right here. And it's still currently running. So Kip's basically 17,000 pips in profit right now. This is what Kip's account's looking like, or his trade. He took it when Powell spoke, and then he's been holding it since then. Right there. He got in at 33,025. So he actually got in a little later, but but still, he's been holding it since then. So he got it after the drop happened right here. But he's still holding it. So he's up 13,260 pips right now. With literally zero drawdown. Yeah, John said this is a swing trade at a scalping lot size. Exactly. So it's a swing trade taken at a big lot size. I think this was just like a YOLO trade for Kip, and he just ended up getting, like, it ended up playing perfectly for him. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out. We'll see. Let me see, back to the 1 minute. Still no zones around this area, unfortunately. See Patricia over here, currently up 2,400. Yeah, Patricia's currently up 2,455 right now. She took another sell. There just isn't anything for us to take at the moment. Like, I'd be wary about taking any variations because price is overextended, obviously. It's due for retracement before it reaches that point. Yeah, not really too much going on here. I know, right? Seth said no wonder MF is having a hard time. Definitely. Yeah, John said Kip has tolerance for the swing up and down. I don't know if Kip's even in here right now. He's probably at work. Kip's over there in surgery right now, checking on his trade. So Kip still works his normal job. So you guys know Kip's a doctor, right? So Kip's is a cancer doctor. So Kip actually has work to do. So this is why it's easy for him to just let the trade run, because he'll take it and then he'll go off to work, come back a couple hours later, like, oh crap, in profit. For a lot of people here who don't have other things to do during the day, that's why a lot of people overtrade. They take bad trades, they fall into trades because you guys have a lot of free time. Like, you guys are like waiting for trades at every single minute. For me, I have like the same kind of discipline as Kip, because after 8 o'clock hits, I'm done for the day. Or sometimes I'll stay on till like maybe 8:30 if there's no trades for the entire day. That's a discipline that a lot of people need, right? You need the discipline to take your trades during a set period of time and then go out and do something else to stop looking at the charts. The problem with a lot of people is you guys don't ever leave the charts. 8 o'clock will hit and I'll say we're done. And then people will stay on here and try to force trades that aren't really there. So I think the best way for you guys to fix your trade psychology, if that's your problem, is to just have some sort of routine. Like for me, after 8 o'clock hits, I walk my dogs for about an hour. I go to the gym. I come back, make lunch for the dogs, and then I pretty much find stuff to do throughout the day, like look for other investing opportunities. I don't really look at the charts at all unless somebody asks me a question or unless we have a mentoring session later in the day. So I think that's the key for a lot of people. You need to find a routine to follow instead of looking at the charts all day. Because if you look at the charts all day, you're going to be forced to not necessarily forced, but you're going to be tempted to take a lot of these unnecessary trades. So that's really key. John said, I hang out at a cancer hospital as a patient. I might be Kip's customer one day. All right, Kip will give you some advice out there, John. Once Kip comes to the area. No, but I'm glad you're here, John. I know you've been fighting it for a while, but you've been part of KT. You've been pretty consistent. Hopefully KT keeps you, at least the community keeps you lively. I know it's a drain having to go through like treatment and stuff. Yeah, Sisuk said routine is a trader's saving grace. Yeah, no, I agree. Joshua said, see you all tomorrow. Definitely, Joshua. We'll see you tomorrow. You did some pretty good profits today. I think you locked in. So Joshua locked in about like 600 for the day. So nice work, Joshua. Solid profits to wrap it up. Jay over here as well. He took one trade, currently at 910 for the day. Nice work, Jay. Patrick over here as well. He said, done for the day. This market is trash, LOL. Locked in total profit of 6,140 or 6,144. So nice work right there, Patrick. So it looks pretty good. It seems like a lot of you guys took trades off my analysis today. There's no official trades yet, unfortunately, but just keep in mind that today is Tuesday, so we still have a whole week ahead of us. So this is NFP week. Typically, the first half of the week is a lot of consolidation, a lot of ranging, as a lot of retail traders get ready for the big move on Friday. But tomorrow we have a lot more news. I was hoping today would be a bigger push because of the Joel shop openings news, which there was. The news happened right over here at 7 o'clock. It faked out to the upside, then it dropped. So technically there was a move here, but there was no zones down here for us to take any trades. So news happened right here at 7 o'clock. Price dropped from there about 300 or about 3,000 pips. So it did drop, but it wasn't in an area where we wanted it to be because all of our zones were up top. Looking over here on Wednesday, we have ADP non-farm employment change at 5:15. We have Fed member Mester speaking at 5. And then we have Chicago PMI at 6:45. So there's going to be a lot of news earlier in the session, which is going to be beneficial for us because this will push price around, causing us to have more opportunities to take trades. So I think tomorrow market will pick up a lot more where we want it to. And then Thursday, same situation. We have ISM manufacturing PMI, final manufacturing PMI, and construction spending, ISM manufacturing prices, war total vehicle sales, natural gas storage, etc. We have a lot of news tomorrow or Thursday that'll push price around as well. The big day on Friday, not NFP. This is where it's going to push price pre-market, and then maybe we can catch some trades after once we start a live session. So just keep that in mind. Natasha said, I'm waiting for Sean to start his own funding company. So we discussed this a bit yesterday, guys. if you guys were on the mentoring session, a lot of people are starting to create their own funding company, which is perfectly fine. We have our own members in here in K2. So don't be surprised if, someone from K2 messages you about their funding company that they're starting. I can't give my opinion on it because I haven't used it yet, but as people start to create their funding companies, I'm going to be doing something a bit different. So I'm not necessarily going to start a funding company for random people to join. What I plan on doing is I'll start a funding company, but the only people that can join will be K2 members, because the thing is, I'm going to focus on teaching you guys how to master, all the K2 strategies so that you guys can trade basically my strategies without me actually having to do the trading. I'll still be doing the live sessions. So I'll be trading from like 6:30 to 8, but then a lot of people who are going to be within the funding company that I, eventually will start, is they can keep trading from like 8 to 10, because I don't trade from 8 to 10, right? So like, looking over here at the data, as you guys can see that Maddie provided, let me just see if I can find it here. So I'll be live with you guys from 8 to, like, nothing's going to change. 6:30 to 8, we're still going to be trading. But if you guys look over here, so like from 6:30 to 8, we'll be taking our trades here normally during the live session. And then once we have some sort of funding company within K2, with that, certain members, we'll have like, we'll have groups of people, right? Groups of people within K2 who want to focus on just 8 to 10. They'll just master trades from 8 to 10. And then we'll have other members who will trade from like 10 to close. It'll be like shifts, right? Everyone will have their own shift where they trade, so that you can have your full focus. Like from 6:30 to 8, you don't have to be focused as much because you can just take what I'm taking. 8 to 10, we'll have a certain amount of people who will just focus during that session, because you guys can see how many wins are here, right? Like, if we can just stack all these trades here, because the thing with me is like, I'm all about optimal trading. Like, you can't trade from 6:30 to 8 and still be trading at 100%, right? You'll be tired. Like for me, I'm tired right now. It's 8 o'clock. If I keep trading from 8 to 10, I'll make some mistakes and I'll lose trades. But if we have that type of funding company where we only have members within K2, I'll be mentoring you guys one-on-one, because the better you guys do, the better I do, because I'm going to be taking a cut of your profits, right? So it's a win-win for all of us. So like, basically the way that will work is I'll do my live session from 6:30 to 8. We'll all be in a pool of funds, and then the next group will go from like 8 to 10. And then later on in the day, we'll have mentoring sessions. So if we have issues or trades that have lost, we'll pretty much go over those trades one by one to see if anybody made any mistakes, right? Because it's beneficial for me that way, because I can focus on training you guys to trade exactly how I do. And we both win, right? So I make a percentage of whatever profits you guys are making. You win because I make sure that you guys win. And then from that point, it's just full circle. You guys just remain funded, and then, it's just profits that keep recycling, I guess. So, and, just looking over here at the data, like, there's so many trades you can take. Like, there'll be some days where like maybe the 8 o'clock group of people will have like 1 or 2 trades, and then the 10 o'clock people will have like a bunch. And sometimes I'll have more from 6:30 to 8. It just depends on the day. But from the data here that Maddie has pulled, 14 wins and 1 loss. Like, if you think about it, so if we had, let's say like on an okay week, like 14 wins and 1 loss. So 14 wins times, say there's 100 of us, right, that are doing this. So like, that pretty much adds up to like 140 wins. So you do that, say we have like about 20 losses, right? Total of 120 wins right there. Each win is going to be about 100 pips, right? So that's basically 12,000 pips. You do that, and then you multiply it by 10 lot, because obviously if you guys are going to be learning from me, I want you guys to be trading on the biggest accounts, because I want to make sure that we maximize our profits here. 10 lot, that's like 120,000 in like a week, right? And if we can consistently do that, it's just going to be and for me, like, for example, if we're doing 120,000 times 4, and this is me just focusing on like 100 people. I could focus on 100 people, make sure that you guys become master traders. This is like what you could lock in a month. And if I take my cut, if I take the 70% cut here, I'll be a pretty happy person at the end of the month because we're all going to win here. And then if you guys, you guys will obviously have your cut as well, 30% or whatever. That's still a pretty big cut to take. So, I mean, it goes full circle. Everyone's going to win. Obviously, it's going to take more work on my end because I have to actually train you guys one-on-one to master these strategies and master the discipline. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be the next part, right? I would start a funding company now, but I don't know how everything works. So I'm waiting for like everyone else to like get their funding company going, and I'll just take the best parts of it and I'll figure out how to get better at that. And I'll just use that for our benefit. So it's more of like a closed off funding company, not necessarily open to the public, because I don't care about making money off like challenges, right? The thing with people making money off challenges is that if the people keep losing, they're going to lose money. They can't pay for challenges anymore. If I just train you guys to be actually good traders and having good discipline, then I don't have to keep getting challenge fees, right? We'll just be making profits off actual trades. So, just keep that in mind, guys. Because my goal here is to like have like a long-term relationship with you guys, a business relationship. Like I want you guys to actually be consistent with trading, because the better that you get at trading, the more money I make, right? The more money I make, the more everyone else makes. So like it goes both ways. Making money off challenges, that's like it's a flawed business model, because how many people can you churn out? Like how many people can get scammed until there's no more people who will pay for that funding? It's better to just really build on the person. It's kind of like with a regular business, right? If you're like a salesperson and you're doing really good with sales for that company, they're going to value you and they want to make sure that you become the best salesperson, because the more you sell, the better, the more money the company makes. Same with trading. It's going to be the same thing, except I'm basically trading you guys how to trade exactly how I do. So, all right, guys, unfortunately, it is 8:07 and there's nothing else here for us to take at the moment. So, I mean, there's no zones down here. I was hoping there'd be at least like a spike in price so that we can go and push, one direction so we can take an actual trade. But right now there's no zones down here and there's nothing for us to really take at the moment. Let's see. Sarah said questions from Sisu. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to talk in the chat, if you guys have any questions, you guys should probably message in the chat right now, because I'm going to be closing the Zoom soon. And then the Zoom over here. Let's see. So just put your questions here in the chat, guys, and then we will, because I'm going to close the Zoom right now. So if I close the Zoom, the chat's going to basically disappear. So, all right, other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Telegram or email me. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up this session right now, because it looks like there's nothing for us to take at the moment. So other than that, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the next live session. Unless you guys have questions, go ahead and reach out in chat. I'll probably hang out for a bit. If not, I'll probably just come back a little later and answer the questions around lunchtime. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys here on